In this video, we're going to add a coin counting system to our existing platformer. We already have collectible coins that give XP when collected, so we're going to expand on this to also track the number of coins you've collected in the display. We're also going to be implementing a health potion that you can collect and immediately heal yourself. And as a little bonus, we're going to be creating a water zone where you move a little bit slower in one of our levels when you're stuck in water. So let's get right into it. The first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create another global script, and we're going to call this the coin manager. In this script, we're going to have one signal that's going to be called coins changed, and we're just going to get the new amount, which is going to be an integer. So this is going to notify the UI whenever our coin count changes. Then we're just going to have one variable with a set and a get and one method here. So our variable is going to be coins. It's going to be an integer that defaults to 0. We're going to have the set, the value, coins will equal the value, and coins changed dot emit, and our coins value. And then our get is going to just return the coins. The only method we're going to have is add coins, which is going to take in an amount of a type of an integer. It's not going to return anything. All we're going to do is add the amount to our coins. We need to also make sure that we add this into our project settings inside of our globals. So we want to go look for this global, and we want to add our coin manager. Sorry, the screen is not showing properly, but then we want to hit add and have it be inside of our globals here. The next thing we're going to want to do is go into our coin script, and we need to add one more layer to this collect. So now we want to tap into our coin manager, and whenever we are collecting a coin, we're just going to add one to it. In order to actually show the coins in our UI, we're going to create a new scene. We're going to call it coin counter. You can open this up. This is going to be of a canvas layer type. So let's save that. We're also going to attach a script to it. Inside of our coin counter, we're going to have a couple of nodes. We're going to start with a control. We're going to make this a full rect. And inside of the control, we're going to have a texture rect, which is going to store coin icon. Then we are also going to have a label, which is going to display how many coins we have. To keep these in order, or horizontally aligned, we're also going to put them inside of an HBox container. So let's create that HBox container and drag the texture rect and the label into the HBox container. We're going to rename the label to coin count, and we can go into our script, and we're going to need the onReady variable for our coin count. We're going to have two methods, which is just going to be our ready, and we're going to have an update our display. So let's tap into our ready method, and all we're going to do here is hit our update display method, which we haven't created yet, and we're going to give the coin manager dot coins, which is going to show our total coins. We're also going to connect to the coins changed signal that we have. And on that, we're going to hit our update display method. So the update display method is going to take in an amount. It's going to be of a type integer. It's not going to return anything. And all we're going to do here is go into our coin count and then change the text to equal a string of our amount. I need to actually type in coin manager there. Great, so that's all we're gonna have to do on the script side of things. I am going to go back into the 2D view, and I'm going to type in coins here in all caps. And in our label, if you've been following along, you're able to go into our theme overrides and apply the UI theme, so we automatically get our text. And we're going to do a couple of overrides though. We're going to go to our font sizes, and we're going to change this to 8. Okay. Let's move this to the middle. The HBox container, we're going to put an anchor in the top middle. And then we're going to go to our texture rect. We're going to do an atlas texture. Click here. And we need to go find our items. We're going to edit the region just to get one of our coins. I'm going to use this one. It's not a great icon, but it's going to serve our purposes here. Now we can close this. And it has some funky... that's not the dimensions that we want. So we just need to go back to our HBox container and go to our layout, transform, just reset the size here. Okay, so now we have what is normal. All right. We also are going to need to go back into our control node and find the mouse, and then we want to ignore it. So this is going to allow us, if we don't do this, this is going to just constantly, when it's overlaying on top of our game, we're not going to be able to click anything. Our mouse clicks aren't going to go through the canvas layer and allow us to actually, shoot or press buttons or anything like that. We're also going to need to add this coin counter to our globals. So we need to go find our coin counter, which should be in our scenes, UI, or no, inside of our collectibles, coin. We're going to do the coin counter scene. So let's add that. Now I'm going to do level 2. You'll see why, because we're going to work on the water zone later. But let's go into level 2. I'm going to create a node, just a regular node. I'm going to call it coins. And let's go add a couple coins in here. So we're going to drag a coin here. And let's just copy, or let's duplicate this 3 times. All right. Okay, now let's play this scene. You can see at the top here, we have 0 coins. And now, as we're going, collecting our coins, the number is increasing with the amount of coins that we collect. Great, so we've fully set up the coin counter. And what we want to do now is we want to implement a health potion. So if our player takes damage and he finds a health potion, we want to make sure that he can actually heal himself. So first things first is we need to create a potion collectible. So let's go into our collectibles folder, create a new one. I'm going to call it potion. We might have other potions in the future, so this can just house all of our potions. So we are going to create a scene, call it health potion. And just like our coin, it is going to be an area 2D. And we're also going to add a script to it and call it health potion. We'll give it a class name of health potion. And we need to make sure that it's going to extend our collectible. Before we go and actually write some of this, let's build out what our health potion is actually going to look like. So the first thing we're going to add is a sprite 2D. We're going to need a collision shape. We're going to need an animation player. And we are going to need an audio stream player. So in our sprite 2D, we're going to do, I broke up in our collectibles. I just have an individual potion. I just found this would be a lot easier if I just broke it up like this rather than trying to decipher through the potions. So in the GitHub link, you'll be able to find this singular potion PNG as well. Then we need to do a collision shape, which I am going to do a circle collision shape. I think honestly, as it is right there, I think that's totally fine. In our animation player, it's not going to be animating. If you had a potion that you did want to animate while it's on the ground, you can definitely do that. But we're just going to autoplay this, and all we are going to do is just key in this frame here, and that's fine. We're adding this strictly because if we look at our collectible, scene. Actually, I don't know. I thought that we were going to have an animation player. We actually don't need one. I was misremembering that our collectible class, I thought it was going to default to have an animation player. So we can actually get rid of this. We don't need an animation player. All right. So we have this right now. It doesn't do anything. We need to configure it in a couple of ways. So first of all, it's going to need to mask for our player. Our mask for our player is layer 1. Okay. It doesn't need to be a layer. We could create a collectible layer. Why don't we? We didn't do that for our coin, so we don't need to do that here. But if we do go back to our coin, this should have the same collision. Oh, this does not. Okay, so we can actually remove this collision layer as well. It just needs to have a mask. Let's just make sure that this is still working. Back to our level 2. Yeah, nothing has changed, so we're still good here. Obviously, it didn't affect anything, but I think it's good that our collectibles are not on it shouldn't be on the player layer. And I think honestly at that, we should create our own collectible layer. So let's go back here. We're going to go into our base collectible. I'm going to uncheck the 1 here. And we're going to create a new layer. We are going to, on level 10, or layer 10, we're going to call this collectible. We'll set this at 10 just to make sure this followed. We're going to do that for this and the coin as well. Now we can go back to our health potion and work on the script. We're going to need our 2 onReady variables, which is going to be actually just 1. We're only going to need our audio. Since we're not going to have an animation player, we don't need to play an animation. And we're going to have an export variable of our heal amount. It's going to be an integer, and I'm just going to default this to 1. The only method we're going to have here is we're going to override the collectibles collect method, which has a player, doesn't return anything, and we are going to only collect our health if we don't have max health. If our player's current health is less than our player's max health, then we proceed. So then we can do player.heal, heal amount, which we have not created this heal method yet, which we will do right after this. Then we're going to super.collect player. So now we're going to inherit the parent's class collection behavior. We are going to do audio.play. We need to assign our audio to it. And we're going to await our audio.finished. And then we queue free. So let's go into our audio stream player here. I did add a new file. We can go to quick load, and you want to select the heal 02 underscore heal 02 wave file. Now when you open that up, we should be able to go into our level 2. Let's play this. Oh, we need to actually add a potion to our level. Let's go to the 2D. Let's add a potion. I'm going to put it right here. So now let's play this. Okay. So you can see I'm not able to actually collect this potion because we're at full health. So let's go back to our player and let's just change his current health to 3 just to demonstrate how we can actually heal. Now when we play this, player.heal, right. I didn't actually go back and add the heal method to our player. So let's go do that really quickly. So we're going to do heal, taking an amount, which is an integer. We're not going to return anything. And all we're going to do is current health plus equals amount. Okay, so now let's replay this. All right, that collected. It didn't look like it attached to here though, in our health bar. So something isn't connected right. Yeah, we need to actually do something a little bit more, not complex, but more than what we're doing here. So this could actually make us go above our max health, right? If we're at health 4 or 5 and we get a potion that adds 2, we're going to end up with 6 health, which isn't what we want. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to set up a new variable called health before. So it's going to be our health before we heal. It's going to be an integer, and it's going to be our current health. Then we're going to set our current health equal to the smaller value of our current health plus the amount we're healing for our max health. So this will top us off always at the max health. And then in order for the health bar to get updated, we need to also do health bar.value. It's going to equal now our current health. So if we go back and play this level, now when I get this potion, we play the sound and you can see the health bar also updated. Sweet. So that covers that. We're going to build on this in the next video where we're actually going to create a hotbar at the bottom of our screen where we can actually collect potions when our health is full, and when we lose health, we can use them. So we can actually heal when we're not just running over potions. We're going to be able to hold items and actually use them within a hotbar. For now, though, I wanted to do a little bit of a little bonus, little additional code to this level. So right now we can just walk in this water. I don't really like it. Doesn't do anything. So I want to add a water zone here so that when we're in water, we actually move slower. So this shouldn't be very difficult to implement. But the first thing we are going to do, let's move the health potion out of our coins node though. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we need to make a new scene. It is going to be an area 2D. We're going to rename this. I'm going to call this water zone. You can save this. We're not actually going to add anything to it. We're going to need a collision shape, but I'm going to add that explicitly inside of our scene because the collision shape is going to look different for every water zone that we have. So let's go into our scenes. I am going to put this in levels, and I'm going to make a new folder and just call it zones. So let's save our water zone here. We're going to add a script, call it water zone. We're going to need one export variable, which is going to be what I'm calling slow speed. And it's just going to be a float. We're not actually going to assign it yet. We're going to have one variable called original speed. And it's also going to be a float. And you know what? We're actually not going to have an export variable here. Those are just going to be both two regular variables. We'll make a ready method. And our slow speed is going to be set equal to our player manager dot player dot speed times 0.5. So I'm going to have the player speed to make them slow in the water zone. And then we want to keep track of our original speed as well, which is just going to be our player manager dot speed. Okay. We need that so when we exit the water zone, we can return to our normal speed. In order to make this happen, we need to connect to two signals. We can use the built-in body entered and body exited. What happened here? Disconnect. Body entered, connect. And then we want to do body exited, connect. Okay. So we need to do two checks. We need the same check in both of these. We need to check if our body is our player, then we do something. So then we're going to look for our player manager, player.speed. We're in the water zone. We're going to do the slow speed. And then we're going to do player manager .player.is in water equals true. And that's a Boolean that we haven't set up yet. And we're going to need this tracking to see. We want to alert inside of our states if the player is in water, and you'll see why. We also need to do this same check here. So let's just copy and paste this. And we are going to change this to our original speed and then change this to false. Okay, let's go back to our player and let's create that is in water variable. Is in water. It's a Boolean. Now we're defaulting to false. So now we need to go into each of our states. Actually, let's demonstrate how this works first, and I'll show what I want to do with that is in water. Okay. So now we're walking. Now we're in here. Okay. This is actually that didn't work. I must have configured something incorrectly. Oh, I didn't actually assign the collision shape. So let's go into level 2. Let's find our zone. We'll bring a water zone in here. Go to our 2D. I'm going to add a collision shape. And we're going to give it a rectangle shape. Need to go find it. Let's bring it down here. I'm going to change the color to a yellow just so we can see it. And all I'm going to do is just extend it the width of this water zone. Now you'll see when we walk into this zone, we need player.speed. And now let's rerun this. And when I walk into the zone, I'm going to start moving slower. And then as soon as I'm out of here, I'm back to my normal speed. So the one thing I wanted to do with this is in water is I don't want my player to be able to crouch in the water. That doesn't seem right. Maybe down the road, if he's crouching in water, he'll lose 1 health per second or something like that. Either way, I don't want him to be able to crouch. So I need to go into each of my states that I have the ability to crouch in, which is going to be first is going to be my idle state. And in this crouch area, all I want to do is do a check for and not player.is in water. So we're going to copy this and we're going to go add this to our run state because that we also have it there. And we are also going to add it to our attack state since we can crouch in our or after our attack state as well. Okay, so now we can go play this. And when we walk in here, I'm pressing shift, which is my crouch, and I can't crouch. I can still jump out of here and then return to normal. And that about does it for this tutorial. As I mentioned in the next tutorial, we're going to be adding on to our UI and creating an actual hotbar and the ability to collect items and use them in the future.